Hey everyone, Mr. coming at you with a quick review of the Practice FRQ for Unit 1. So basically what's happening here is I made a little FRQ for you to basically paint F using less than 20 of the sandbox included in Unit 1. So my intention was for you to try this out. Do it by hand, obviously, because the actual FRQ, you will not be allowed to use a compiler. Try it out, and then you can certainly make your way over to Unit 1, Lesson 20 in the sandbox with the paint bucket and actually do this yourself to test your own code as well. Okay, so to get things started, let's take a look at what's going on. So we basically need to take what's given in the before image and create that after. So let me get a little drawing thing here in red. So we got a before and we have an after. So the idea is we're going to start to go from a paint bucket and make an F. So here's what we can do. I'm going to take a look at what do we have available to us. We have the neighborhood runner class, the painter class, a painter plus, and then we're going to make something called a god tier painter class. We have a bunch of methods given. I apologize. I think in the original handout, I forgot to put in a turn right. So you can certainly make one. Should be simple, but for the real FRQ, I would just give it to you. Okay, other givens, we're going to spawn at the origin 0, 0, and one thing I forgot to write in the original version that you might have is that we need to face east. So it's pretty important. So wherever my guy is, the painter is, it's going to face east. So let's go ahead and take a look at the action items. Before and after, this is your chance to, you can use pseudocode if you want, or basically just write out what's the game plan here, right? So I can already see on the before, we have the paint bucket. We're going to go ahead and spawn some sort of painter guy right here, right? So that's going to be where we spawn our painter person. And they're going to be facing east. Okay. So since they're facing east, I know I'm going to go ahead and move that way. So kind of my draft here, let me do the text option. So let me, my draft, right? Since I can't write this on Zoom. First things first, we need to make object move one space, right? And then I'm just looking at where the paint bucket is. We need to take all that paint. Once we're on that bucket, and 3, it looks like I need to move one more space in that eastern direction. And then I'm going to go ahead and start painting from here, right? Okay, so in order, we're going to take, we already have the paint, so I'm going to go ahead and move one space east, and we're going to start painting, right? So paint 3 spaces. It looks like it after the paint bucket, 1, 2, 3, and then we need to turn around at some point, and then 6, move back. What's that going to be? From here, it'd be 1, 2 spaces, turn left, and then I'm just noticing that the painter guy is actually ending up over here all the way on the right. So let me zoom in a little bit more just so it's clear. He's all the way here on the right. So that means he painted down here the bottom part, the vertical part of the F, and then somehow turned back around to get there. So it's more complicated, but that's fine. And then we're going to paint, what does that look like? 1, so we already painted this, right? So it's going to be move. So once I turn left, I'm going to move and paint 1, 2, 3, 4. So move, and then paint 4 spaces. Then we got to turn around again, annoyingly. And then I got to move 2 spaces north, and then finally I can turn right. Kind of running out of room here, so I'll make one more text box. We're going to turn right and then paint 2 spaces. Okay, so kind of just thinking about what steps I'm going to take here, right? None of this is any coding or anything, but it allows me to actually think about what I'm going to do. And I'm going to write out all the code on the next space. We need a couple things to note here that I see that I wrote. We need to use the new method paintNF. We need to use this in the subclass god tier painter. There's a couple different criterias. I need to use a while loop. Okay. And then we make a method called turnaround. We need to make a method called paint thrice. And it's all going to be in this method paintNF. The tester class should designate the argument as the paint color is yellow. Okay, cool. And then, so to get you started, my idea here was to create the tester or create some code for you to get you going. And the same thing will happen in the real FRQ kind of, again, so I don't just give you the blank slate in Unit 1. First things first, let's go ahead and type out our code. I need to instantiate our person, right? So we're going to be the object for paint F. So in order to paint F, so for the subclass, it needs to extend, right? So in this case, we're going to do public class. We're going to do God tier painter, right? Extends the superclass of painter plus. You do curly braces. So that's going to happen. And let's see. Whoops, that's for the instantiation. This needs to be in the God tier painter class. Sorry, get my stuff mixed up here. To instantiate that, and that's kind of what I think in my head first. We're going to go make that class extend, subclass God tier painter extend painter plus, and then I can do God tier painter Sean equals new God tier painter, right? And there's that. Let's make one more text box. I have blank paint the F, so let's see. So Sean, let's say it's my object. So it's going to be Sean. Oops, Sean dot. What are we using? Paint me F. And then we need to use a color, right? So we're going to use some sort of color, say yellow. So that's that. Okay, so we have the instantiation happening. We have the Sean dot paint me F yellow, and then we're going to need a code based on everything we've done here, what we're supposed to do. So I need to do some sort of code that makes the object move one space, take all paint, move one space east, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I also need to make these new methods. So again, the idea is, and I'll show you the answers in a different, just a PDF. But basically, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to look at the actual information that I have here, right, in the draft, since we did all that work. And I'm going to take each one of those down here and just make it a code line by line. So if we have the public class or subclass of God tier painter, I need to make this method called paint me F here, okay? So that's the first thing I'm going to do. We're going to do public class, God tier painter extends painter plus, and then I can go ahead and do, let's go ahead and make our method of paint me F. Public void, if you recall, paint me F. And this is the hard part. You need to make sure you put string color in here because this tells the software, hey, get ready to receive some sort of color as a parameter, right? So what's that parameter going to be? So that when I, eventually I'm going to have to use paint, right, and color at some point, it'll know what's supposed to, where this is drawing from. Okay, so in other words, this is an argument called yellow, right? So basically what I'm telling here in English is Sean is going to use the paint me F method to basically paint with some color yellow. And that's what's happening here. Okay, so we're not going to do paint color right away. But I'm going to go ahead and, so this is kind of the important part, right? We need to designate our class, right? Or sorry, extend our class, God tier painter, so it's painter plus. And then we do public void paint me F string color, and then we can start typing in the code with a while loop. And again, I'll post the PDF of my code. And kind of the idea here is, again, you're going to type out your code, and you can go into lesson 20, which is the sandbox with the paint bucket, and go ahead and try it there yourself. And you'll see what errors you're going to get. So email me if you have any questions, and I'll stop here, and then I'll post my answer key. But again, the idea is, obviously take a look at the givens, right? What are we given here? Where are we going from before to after? Make a draft of kind of your steps in English. And then we're going to review the criteria one more time. And then we're going to start doing the actual coding with the writing. And then kind of your final check is you can check my answer key, or better yet, just go to code.org, lesson 20 in unit 1, and just copy and paste your code there, or type in your code there and see if it runs and compiles correctly. So hope that helps, and I'll be around virtually to answer questions.